welcome to Shrouded Realities, the show where three idiots come together and talk about things that are way outside of our comfort zone and hopefully make you think. Today's gonna be a think piece.
It is.
Today's gonna be. We're not experts on anything. We didn't really learn much this week, but we did some thinking.
Yeah, just our thoughts on the human experiment. We're living it, and then we're just gonna talk about it and see where we land.
Yeah, I want to trigger conversation with our listeners to do their own thinking, have your own conversations, because
The powers that be,
don't want that. They don't want that at all.
they want you to fit in a groove and stay there.
Maybe that's kind of what I learned this week, but I kind of already had that in my head, so
Yeah,
it's
you're dangerous, Joey. We need to put you down.
we were dangerous. That's so this subject's kind of makes me fearful for this show because we want to gain listeners, but man, the masses are just
You think the masses are formatted and got psychosis?
They've got the
mass formation psychosis.
Yeah,
The
that's-
MFP.
I feel like it's
MFP.
already there, and it's going to be hard for people to open their minds and listen.
I feel like people understand it though. I feel like people know that they are in some instances.
Is it more of like just cognitive dissonance, where like they know it's there, but it's too uncomfortable to face?
That's
so they
it.
just turn
I
away?
think that's real.
Yeah, that's it.
Because if you talk to, if you talk to people, they're like, yeah, absolutely, that's what's going on. But
and then they go TikTok.
yeah, exactly. Go
Get
straight
back
back
on
into
your
their,
phone.
right back into
Yeah, the
TikTok.
government's definitely controlling us.
Yeah. Hey, and self-awareness up
100%,
here, like
yeah.
it's everywhere.
Yeah, you have to be very vigilant of what you put in your head. You know how you set yourself up, because it doesn't really take much.
They don't.
If you're not somebody that's open and thinking about every single thing all the time, you're going to end up
trying to sniff out BS.
Yeah, just trying to sniff it. You have to, or you're going to end up part of it.
For me, that is exhausting.
It is
mentally draining to just like filter everything.
Every commercial,
sometimes
every
you
news.
just want to give up. Honestly,
Yeah.
you just want to be like, you know what? I'm just going to be a normal person and just like not.
Just hop in line.
Just hop in line, because honestly, it's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah,
Sure it is.
There's no pushback. You're with the grain. You know what I mean? But then it goes against something else in me. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
it's a clash.
And the thoughts of pushing back are uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's you against literally the world.
We touched on it last week with the moon landing talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, the mass majority of people think we did go to the moon. And most of the time, there were visceral reactions if
people were upset.
You try
that
to tell them no.
Yeah, I think we discussed it in last week's episode, but we had discussions with people where they were mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just...
It's like, did they even know why they were mad? You know what I mean?
No, they really didn't.
It's just, it makes them uncomfortable for your mind to break and believe something you've believed all your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to push through the discomfort to even acknowledge that may not be right.
Yeah.
Not just the moon landing, but anything.
Anything.
That reality as you know it could be different.
That time frame of the 60s was crazy. And I think now we're seeing a lot of stuff where we're going, oh yeah, no, maybe we shouldn't have been as open to all this stuff as we were.
Yeah, especially during, the Cold War with the Red Scare. It's like nobody trusted anybody.
No.
Nobody. Which kind of feels like that now, honestly.
And it was borderline Nazism. It was it was
during that
very
time we
immoral.
actually had some Nazis over here.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
Say,
as friends.
Hey, make me a rocket and you can be my buddy again.
Oh, Warner von Braun. Yeah. What a good guy.
Don't worry about those people you hung in your rocket factory.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's fine. Just we won't send you to prison if you build us a rocket. It's fine.
We won't hang you. Just build us a rocket.
And see, I think that is why stuff like this show is important. Having that conversation, not forgetting or whitewashing your history, and seeing the mistakes that were made so you don't make those mistakes again.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're on the edge of society, especially American society, making that mistake again.
A little bit of totalitarianism.
A little bit of totalitarianism.
Putting all their chips,
rulers and
putting all their
ruled.
chips in, the safe bet.
Yeah.
The safe bet is just the terrorist in disguise.
So we seen. I think I'm foreshadowing one of our future episodes. We're going to be talking about the COVID scare. I feel like we're forgetting what happened during all that pretty quickly.
And that wasn't even the first. That was small compared to the other one in recent history, the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Oh,
that was COVID shadowed, or Patriot Act shadowed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was like signing over half of your rights almost immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had no control over it.
In the form of safety.
Yeah. So I come across a phrase, the wave of terror. So the ruling class uses the wave of terror to break down our morality, to be able to do things like what Hitler and Young and Mao.
It's like tenderizing the meat, you know.
Yeah, you scare them to the point where we got to do this very immoral thing to make the masses safe,
to make the scary go away.
Yeah, but the scary was usually manufactured or not even really that scary.
Yeah.
So you bring up the Patriot Act.
Like your neighbor could be a terrorist.
That was in response to the 9/11 attacks. 9/11 attacks was a scary, bad thing. Like I remember it distinctly.
I do too.
But in the overall population, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't lose your morals bad.
During the time, there was people talking about the quote from Benjamin Franklin. I don't know if y'all know it, but those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
Yeah.
I mean, and we gave it all up.
Oh, yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
And it felt like the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah.
At the time, you're like...
Because we were scared. Everybody was scared.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Nobody knew what was going to happen next.
Yeah. They thought... I mean, we didn't think anything like that was ever going to happen here.
No.
Yeah.
And then it did, and then everybody just flipped.
Yeah.
And it was incredible how quickly we were like, yep, we got to do it. Got to do it.
Listen to my calls.
Take everything from me. Just
arrest everybody with a turban on their head. Just
exactly.
They didn't care. And the same thing happened with Pearl Harbor. They've got a memorial in Washington, D.C. I seen it a couple years ago that we locked up a whole classification of people.
Yeah,
we did.
In the name of safety.
Yeah.
And we seen it again most recently with COVID. Just mentioned that.
Yeah.
You know,
saw it before that with eugenics.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was on board with that because they thought that we were going to make our population
dumber. And
we were going to be a dumber population if we kept going the way we were.
There's not enough food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a fear tactic, then another fear tactic, then another fear tactic. And I think the most recent one is COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, you're going to kill Great Aunt Sally if you go around her, if you don't have 82 boosts.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
You go to the grocery store, it's a mass murder. You know, you walk in there without a mask, you're killing everybody.
Yeah.
What a horrible person you are. You're going to kill somebody and never even know it. And
they're putting the weight on your head to make you feel a certain way, you know, to make you feel the guilt, make you feel the...
I guess y'all saw conveniently that's all coming back right now, right? COVID. Conveniently.
Like with the election cycle?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
What are they saying?
So my mom, she works in... it's called Youth Advocacy Program. Well, they get emails about stuff that's you know going on, and they said that this is great. This one is not likely to show symptoms. This virus is not likely to
Trust
show
me, you're sick.
Yeah, your back might hurt.
Get out of here.
Your back might hurt. You will get pneumonia without a cough. Don't know how that works.
I feel like I have that now.
I was about to say. All right. Yeah, exactly. You may be sore. It's time to start double masking and stay double masking, which is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, doesn't work.
But just because me and you know that, the mass psychosis is if I put 32 masks on my face, then I'm going to protect some random guy from my symptomless COVID. What the crap are we... We went through this already.
And the mask didn't work when they were supposed to work.
The mask didn't work.
It did more
then.
harm than anything. I mean, especially with the children. I mean, it set back children like a few grades in
not the masks themselves, but the shelter in place did. 100%.
No, I'm saying like the mask, like it, because as humans, we learn how to talk also by looking at other people's mouths.
Oh yeah.
And that's so true. It screwed up a bunch of children in that school. Yeah, because they were masked up. It was hard for them to like learn.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole generation of kids that have speech issues because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's like, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
You got to do it. You're going to kill your great granddad if you don't.
Yeah, while he's like already dying.
He's already,
He's already there. Like,
So,
And I remember when that was going on, there were people pushing back against it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the mass psychosis part of it was everybody buying into Fauci and all everything you've seen on the news every single night that was saying that you had to do all that stuff to save your grandma.
It was so much.
And it turned out to not be true.
And I wasn't audibly trying to push against it, but I was against it.
I had my
was
boundaries
prepared
internally.
Yeah, I was prepared to lose my job over it.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, she worked in the health industry at the time. Told her, I'm like, look, I mean, it's going to be tough, but if they make you do it, you just lose your job.
Yeah. And that's why I want to have this conversation, is because it's going to happen soon again.
It is.
And we've got to watch out. Everybody's got to watch out.
We are, I would say, a couple of months away from hearing all of that same talking point again.
Yeah.
And people need to be aware that this is, just look at it with a critical mind and go, symptomless, but I'm going to kill somebody. How does that work?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Like, I don't think that's how viruses work.
It's not. I mean, so.
And kind of where I was started studying on this for this week was the dumbing down of society for the purpose of the lifting up of the ruling class. And that I believe not just COVID, but all the other things we just mentioned is part of that societal forming to keep us in line, to keep us dumber, to keep us not questioning, to keep us believing everything you hear.
Trust what you see. We'll show you what you need to know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're little Orwellian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's happened throughout history.
It has.
Like I dug back all the way back to the 1850s. Well, shoot, there was something, the Geneva witch trials. Didn't even know that was a thing. 1571 in Switzerland. We've all heard of the, especially in America, the Salem witch trials, which happened in the 1600s. But in the 1500s, it happened in Switzerland. And it was mass psychosis. All it was people believing that women were witches for no reason at all, and just
makes me think
torching
of.
them.
Have y'all seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Bits and pieces.
Yeah, when they're so if she weighs as much as a loaf of bread, then she's a witch.
Right.
If y'all haven't seen that, y'all got to go watch it. That's great.
Rye or pumpernickel.
Yeah. So another funny movie was Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Hints of truth to it. It's one of those. It's like it was meant to be.
It's like you're watching it and you're like, this is happening now.
Yeah. This is real. Well, see, that was so we've heard the term eugenics as we're getting into this show a lot. You know, the controlling of population control and different classes to keep the overall society better, I guess, by weeding out
dissenting,
lower classes.
When someone in power says that they're going to make your life better, take a step back immediately and go, wait, how?
Yeah. But Idiocracy was, the beginning of it was you get two dumb rednecks making babies, and they make tons of babies, and all those other dumb babies become even dumber babies, and, it just spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, they're watering their plants with Gatorade.
Yeah. And then the world's coming to an end because they can't grow food because, what was it? It's got electrolytes. What was the name of the
I don't remember
Gatorade?
what they used.
It was Gatorade, but they had a different name.
Batorade.
No,
it was
Bronto
pretty different.
or something like that. But so that that part of the movie, it made sense, but it's not true. You see smart people come out of bad
100%.
situations all the time.
Well, that goes back to the eugenics thing. I mean, that's why they wanted to eradicate all those people.
Two dumb people don't make one dumb person. It's likely to happen.
Yeah, especially with the conditions.
I mean, environment does play a little bit in your growth and development. I mean, it just does. Your environment's going to, but that doesn't mean that you can't get out of that and be a brain surgeon. Sure, you could.
Even on the flip side of that, you can have two really smart people, like a really smart family, and
have a dumb.
I actually think that one's more likely.
Yeah. JFK, we found that in the eugenics study we was doing. The JFK's sister, they're a fluent family. The president came out of that family, but his sister was just messed up in the brain, so they had to do lobotomies on her.
I also think that two smart people can produce a dumb person by they're smart enough that the kid just rides the coattails of the doesn't. I don't have to learn anything because my parents are this or whatever.
Spoiled and titled.
I think that comes from that too. So
Paris Hilton.
Yeah,
and I think with some of the research I did, like I wouldn't take IQ as like a benchmark for how easily society is put under a mass psychosis, because like
no,
it doesn't matter, because IQ has been rising since the 40s.
Yeah.
But it seems like everybody is so dumb.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's because of what they're teaching.
Yeah.
In public schools, in colleges and stuff like that. It's actually more college educated people that tend to fall into this mass psychosis, because I'm smarter than you are. And they've been
conditioned for.
I've seen the evidence. Yeah. It's all over, and you're an idiot because you think otherwise. Yeah, I'm a college educated human, and you are. What did you do? Graduate high school? Okay.
Yeah, and the public school system gets
had
you
interactions
ready
with people like that.
Yeah, and the public school system gets you ready for that, because it's designed to keep you in line.
Yeah,
learn. We're going to tell you what you need to learn. We're going to tell you what you need to be smart.
And later in life, we're going to tell you that this right here is the most important thing. And if you don't believe it, then you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're not questioning it then, you're never going to question it later. Yep. And you're going to be on the fringe like us.
I had this conversation with somebody during COVID who I actually thought was going to be more on the same side that I was during it. And they were not, and they pulled the I'm a college educated person and what are you? And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like I know how to read. I know how to read numbers, brother.
Yeah,
I can read things. I can read. Okay.
As Kamala Harris said, 250 million Americans died during COVID, of a population of 360 million.
Maybe spiritually, morally.
That's that may have been a Freudian slip on her part.
Something there, but
I mean, it's top down too. It's not just like the leaders and what they say. It's like our food conditions us and makes us weaker. The school system, obviously, the things that our phones that we put into our bodies, even the air we breathe probably has some kind of effect on us.
Oh yeah,
you know. I mean, it's a compounding effect. So it's like the people that want to change society and make us into psychosis drones. It's like they don't need to do much.
Yeah.
They don't need to do as much as I mean, back like 100 years ago, we had none of this information. So like all of our information came from the top.
Yeah.
Which is scary to think about, because there's nowhere for you to go to question.
There wasn't podcasts like us.
The libraries are burned down.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that we're not susceptible to this. We are absolutely susceptible to it, and we have to work and think, okay, wait, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a spectrum. Like one end, it's like there's people who don't question anything, and then there's on the other end where people question everything. And both ends are just as dangerous.
There's extremes to both sides, and I think that both of them are bad.
Yeah.
There has to be a middle ground for people where that's...
And both ends, reality is not real.
Yeah, exactly.
And there has to be open discussion. I mean, like we're doing now. You've got to get it out, and you've got to talk about it. With me and you kind of ran into it this week. We were talking about the kind of this mass psychosis and the government telling us what we need to believe, and it kind of surprised us. I mean, you made eye contact. I don't think we talked about it since, but you're tracking. He said we were talking about what the government tells us and what we're supposed to know, and he's like, "Well, I mean, really, we probably shouldn't know some of the things that we know." Just for the sake of society.
Yeah.
And me and Steven just kind of flinched a little, like we had to hold back our, what are you, crazy?
It's Hitler!
Yeah, actually, I had to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it was...
I audibly heard you go, like you wanted to just pop back. And
it was there. It was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, stop.
No.
Okay, this is not...
It's like, this could cost me my job.
Yeah, that was that situation.
Actually, yes, it could have. Yeah. And... it was not the time and place to have that conversation.
Right.
It was having fun, having a good lunch. And
absolutely.
Didn't want to take it in a weird place.
I didn't want...
I would have took it to that weird place.
Yeah.
I would have ruined lunch for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. You just have to
move on.
You got to know where you're at.
That was to me, it was like, oh, he's one of those.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I flipped immediately.
Oh yeah, our conversation
Because-
went to a different level.
You have a thought of somebody, and then sometimes they say words, and you go, "Oh, okay, I won't say anything."
And this
to
is
you
the
again
whole
about
system,
that.
right? This is the whole system.
This is what we're talking about. This is mass psychosis.
100%.
Yeah,
Just like where you had to change the way you were talking just because
yeah.
that someone wasn't questioning.
And guess
anything.
what? To me, that is a little bit of mass psychosis on my part because I didn't confront it. I
Disengaged.
I disengaged because I was out in public in society
Yeah.
where it was not appropriate for me to do that.
Right.
And I have had that bred in me to not do that
Yeah.
in public. Don't cause a scene. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
I've had that. I mean, we all have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
so I mean, we obviously 100% disagreed with him. Like,
Yeah.
no, the government should not be telling me what if the government has information of aliens, tell society there's aliens.
Yeah.
We're not going to burn
There
down
will be-
the streets.
There might be some fallout from that. There could be.
Maybe,
But we've already come out and said that aliens are real.
and nothing happened.
And guess what? Nobody cared.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say they could come out and they'd still be like, "Oh, you're lying."
Yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
yeah, and
Yeah. It boils down to I guess I'll wake up tomorrow knowing that aliens are real and I'll still go to work. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
so the JFK thing gonna be a future episode, but
Yeah.
that's another situation where the government knows what happened, and it's
guess
starting to
what?
come out.
Yeah.
But
But
we're
there
still
are-
here. Nobody cares.
Yet again, they're hiding it. They don't want to have that
I
conversation.
think they're just playing the long game. They're waiting till it's not relevant anymore.
Till
and then
everybody
just drop it.
everybody that was there is dead.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, we'll tell.
Yeah, can't throw anybody in jail for already.
They're
dead.
probably
Well,
gonna wait. They're probably gonna wait till maybe your parents are gone,
Yeah.
and then they'll probably drop it.
That generation
Yeah.
that remembers it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because then I think that would just absolutely tear them up, probably. Because like,
Oh.
you think?
I don't think. It
I don't
would.
think,
You think so?
I don't think
No.
the government cares if it tears you up.
Yeah,
I'm
I think,
saying like
I
just
think
on a
if they-
personal level.
Yeah, even then, okay. So 9/11's my JFK.
Yeah.
Like everybody in my age group and around my age group remembers.
That's cemented in you.
Yeah, you remember 100%.
I was in 4th grade and I remember where I was.
Yeah.
Like,
So
Mhm.
if the government or anybody would come out and say we set that up, we ran the airplanes in the buildings, we tore the buildings down,
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, makes sense.
be like, okay, and it would suck.
Yeah.
what am I going to do about it?
But guess what? We already don't trust the government anyway. So
Right.
what's
So
it
then
gonna
it's
matter?
like the people who do. It's like, what would it do to them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Would they have a day of just
I
like
think
depression?
my thought is,
I think that they would still deny it.
You think so?
yeah,
I really do. I think that they would go, no, I mean,
They got
there's
it wrong.
no way. They didn't do that.
So my thought is the fear of the government is that it would trigger people to act not out in violence and January 6th situation, but more of like
That's
maybe we shouldn't. Yeah, that's another
That's
thing.
another mass psychosis
I know.
situation, just so
I know.
everybody knows. Oh,
Yeah.
anyway,
But
the January 6th
Oh,
thing is a
yeah.
mass
Yeah.
psychosis.
Yeah.
That is a op if I've ever seen one.
Yep.
Anyway,
but I think it would trigger people to want to take action in changing the system as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So like the ruling class is comfortable with what they've got. Their sole purpose, their sole motivation. Ruby, why are you snoring?
she is getting it over there.
Out.
That was
Morning nap.
that was loud, and I have headphones on.
Picked it up in the,
Yeah.
in the mic. Sorry about that. Don't wake her up. She's cool.
Okay.
Ruby the podcast. Yeah, now she's mad. Their sole purpose, the ruling class's sole purpose, is to keep their power.
Yeah.
It's to keep their situation as a status quo, if not make it better.
I can see why they wouldn't want to do that and tell everybody and pose the risk of a society overthrowing or doing whatever. I don't think we would. I don't think that we would even attempt to.
Because
think-
we're
you
already.
think-
I think the masses are already
we're
in the
already
cycle.
conditioned.
too far in.
Yeah.
I think we're too far in at this point. I think if COVID didn't do it to you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
after all the evidence has come out, and I've had all of my boosters, and I've had COVID 6 times, and
Mhm.
all of that happened, and locking people in their homes for 2 years, and if that's not going to,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm afraid you're right. I think it's too late
I think we're too far in.
The fear of
because all those people are still in power.
Yeah.
the fear of retaliating in whatever way is too much.
Yeah.
Like it just becomes crippling.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
That's
can't
kind
do
of
anything.
depressing to say. I mean,
Yeah.
saying that out loud kind of hurt me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
It does.
Because it's just knowing that you're that far in and there's nothing that can be done until enough people wake up and go, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So I did see, we all watched them after school videos on YouTube.
I like that.
It's podcast.
That's a really cool idea. Everybody go watch his stuff.
Yeah.
He draws out everything on a whiteboard. It's really cool.
And school is spelled Skool.
Yeah. He spells school wrong, so he's probably an idiot.
I think it's kind of on purpose, though.
Oh, 100%.
And then
I was being a little facetious.
The show, I mean the YouTube episode, show is it's about this kind of stuff, about thinking outside the box, not falling in line.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to go watch those videos after school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To deprogram yourself from what you had just been programmed.
100%.
You know? But where's I going?
I don't know. You're talking about the guy after school and he spelled it wrong.
Yeah, before that. It was one of the things in the episode.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Oh, the one we was watching that you sent to us.
Yeah.
He had a point specifically in that. And I don't know what it was.
It's the programming in you. It's turning you off.
Hey,
somebody
said the wrong word and it shut Joey off. I don't know what happened.
There's a van outside. It's just going.
Hey, that another part of this, our attention span, like I can't keep up.
Oh, destroyed.
Didn't
because
I see that we were like lower than a goldfish now, supposedly?
3 seconds is what.
Yeah, 3 seconds and a goldfish is 8.
Yeah.
So we're
got 60 more years of this.
Yeah.
And they say TikTok is the cause. It's more than just TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean,
10 years ago.
We were already on the verge of that.
10 years ago, it was probably like 5 seconds. I mean, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
TikTok was just
and it's situational. I don't think that everybody's just completely in a 3-second lockdown, and then you're like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't think that everybody's like that.
I don't know, our listener retention stats say otherwise.
That may be on us.
Yeah,
that's probably our fault. Not
we shouldn't
theirs.
ramble for an hour.
Yeah,
no, that's good. I'm not going to stop rambling.
This is my
hour.
therapy.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I heard that from multiple podcasters and YouTube channels that are like us, that just open forum talk. It's a form of therapy.
We can't do it at work. Some people can't even do it at home.
Well, we've already discussed we couldn't do it at work.
Yeah.
So
you can't really do it at home, risking your wife like being like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah,
you're getting put on some pills.
Crazy. Yeah.
No, I fully do that to my wife.
Yeah, 100%. My wife is actually crazier than I am.
You better watch out.
Yeah,
you better chill out.
She's wild. Say I would never kill myself.
Come on.
I'm not editing this out.
I love her.
I just know that.
I know.
I'm not editing.
She's great. She's dangerous, but she's great.
I think all our wives are dangerous.
Yeah. I think all of it.
We've all learned how to just stay on the good side. We've had our psychosis done on that.
Yeah. Just know when you're sleeping and you feel a presence hovering over you.
As long as it don't turn into
just going back to the ghost stories episode. All of this was okay.
Yep.
Just as long as it doesn't go to a Lorena Bobbitt situation.
Oof.
That's the next level. That's the level of scared I never want to be in.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. Just go outside and find it in a bush somewhere. That'd be horrible.
Wasn't it on the side of the road?
I don't know. It was
somewhere. It should have been.
It was way.
It should have been in his pants.
Let me tell you where it wasn't attached to it.
I think we're on a streak of talking about wieners.
Wieners and poops, man. That's just all.
That's what society dwindles down to.
Yeah.
Did my psychosis take that into account?
Maybe we're the dumb rednecks from Idiocracy.
We're the dumb rednecks. I just had a kid. Connor just had a kid. Yeah, we're all in.
We're going to keep that process going. I don't care.
I don't think so, though.
I don't think so.
I think we're on the fringe.
But the fact that I don't think so probably indicates that I am.
That's where I was going with that episode.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Wiener, poop, and then Joey figures out what he
back to
needs.
smart stuff. So the way out of breaking that cycle, part of it is comedy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's what they said in the episode we watched. I'll share a link to it.
Which makes sense. I mean, a lot of all I listen to is comedians.
Yeah,
and they have a completely different worldview than most people.
It keeps
it makes sense,
and it keeps you sane and keeps you from falling.
I think humorous mocking is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Because humorous mocking.
Because if you're not laughing, you're crying. Honestly.
Yeah.
So
you
have to.
I think humorous mocking also makes people think a little bit too. It affects you a little bit differently because you're like, oh, that's funny. wait, it's funny because that's true.
Yeah.
And your brain naturally falls
That's
into
why,
that
that's why memes,
thought process.
That's why memes are so powerful.
It's crazy
it's
that
short.
memes are...
It's just like usually a few words on a picture.
Yeah, they say
But
in
it's like, dude, burn. That was true.
Yeah, that was real.
Yeah.
They say in 2016 memes were like a turning point in the election.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Memes were like a big thing that swayed a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was crazy how
I think comedy, it's kind of the last hope a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen we hadn't even touched on this, but the woke side of everything is definitely mass psychosis. I mean, if you believe half the crap that's coming out of woke, dadgum.
And the comedy is the defense to it.
Yeah, comedy. If you go watch Dave Chappelle, who probably doesn't agree with us on most things, he had a couple of episodes or stand-ups that were just tearing people up.
Oh yeah,
it was fantastic. But I think people woke up from that and not woke up in the other way.
And not being woke. Yeah.
Not being woke, but actually are awake.
Yeah.
And that has some evidence too. Like, there's not many funny woke comedians.
No,
they're just not funny, and it's because those two things clash with each other.
Yeah, the ruling class can't be funny.
Yeah,
they can't poke fun.
It's always a punching up.
Yeah. There's nowhere to punch.
Yeah,
like you can't joke on the ruled class. You can't joke on the people below you.
That's not funny at that point because it's just all real.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
Haha, you have no bread.
Yeah.
Haha, your groceries cost a lot. I mean, haha, you can't afford a car.
Yeah. You can't have a gun while I have a security team with fully armed.
I have tanks.
Yeah. But
mass buybacks.
That's a scary situation.
There's a whole other topic. Just go ahead and write it down.
Yep. Yeah. Boom.
I kind of going on a tangent, 3-second attention span here, but I think that's part of the mass psychosis is the fear. You know, they put
100%.
that put that fear out. Hey, I'm fixing to come get your guns, and then everybody freaks out, and it turns into a thing.
That's people that you would typically think are not the in the formation.
Yeah,
I mean that freak out about it.
I think it's a bunch of
come
mini,
take it.
Like you're saying, the mirror.
Come kiss me for it.
Kiss me for it.
Put them soft little hands on me.
It's a TikTok video.
Yeah.
If y'all hadn't seen it, that's great. We may just need to post that on our social media for everybody.
Yeah, we'll
so you were saying those terror waves. It's like I think there's a bunch of small ones going on, and it's like whenever the big ones hit, it's a compounding effect.
Yeah, and the scary part of that is that lowers the morality. You see what happened in Nazi Germany. You're like, how in the world did all of society be okay with gassing?
Back it up.
Gassing gazillions of people and turning their back to it. It was because their morality was down. They'd been feared into thinking that you had to fall in line with the Communist Party.
Yep.
That they were like, okay, yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe the Jews and the Polish are
it's little
really that
increments.
bad.
It's always little increments. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
If you move everything in just a huge, big jump, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But when you just take a piece here, do a little bit there,
get them used to it, do a little more. Get them used to it, do a little more.
And I think it's pretty evident right now that that's going on. Yeah. I think that's obvious. I think that even the people that would disagree with this conversation would even go, yeah, well, it's not the same as it used to be. It's not this.
And that's
the
point is you get okay with it.
You would say, nobody that's been alive, let's say for 30 years, is going to look and go, yeah, this is pretty similar to how I grew up. No, it's not.
No.
Right.
No, it's not. Nobody, and just start there. That's all I would say is start there and go, are things the same? Are things better? Why?
Yeah.
And dig into that and think about it and go, okay, why? And just open up to some of this.
And not forget what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
don't. So like eugenics movement, we've never heard of the eugenics movement until we started digging into it. We pulled that thread of one person, heard that word and was like, what the crap is eugenics? Then you find out everybody's into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody in the 20s was like ready to just like cut people's balls off just to make them not have babies. And it was the rich and
powerful.
Yeah.
That's where it started. And and then it trickled down.
And it didn't matter if they were dumb or not.
It didn't.
Helen Keller was a eugenicist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chick was blind and deaf, born blind and deaf. She had a medical issue that made her blind and deaf.
But she was in it.
But she was okay with saying blind and deaf people.
Actually, nobody should grow up like I did. Yeah. They should all die.
What? Kill them. What? What is going on? So we have to talk about that stuff. That's why I think this show is God ordained. We kind of feel like everything's kind of aligned for us to get this going.
Yeah.
It's for this conversation. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want us falling.
And there's
line.
stuff behind the scenes that really make me think that we're supposed to be in here doing this, having this conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, us sitting in a room and just having a conversation about nonsense
and putting it out to the world. And we hope people like it. Yeah.
But, everybody's locked up and they need to know it.
Yeah.
Locked up in their brain, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Get that key.
You gotta start having the conversations, even the uncomfortable ones. I think in a different situation. If we were in a party situation, I think
I'd push it just a little bit.
Or maybe even a 101. Yeah, and some of us are stronger than others. Connor probably would have been like, just throw the bomb out there.
That's honestly,
no, dude, the government ain't telling me nothing.
That's honestly the best, because that's the best way to break that barrier down. You know,
I've noticed myself in regular conversation, even on things that don't matter, pushing it a little bit to people though. Yeah. Yesterday I was getting my hair cut, and this guy will actually listen to this episode because I've given him the all the stuff. But he was like, man, he had the Beatles playing. Yeah. He's like, dude, you gotta love the Beatles. I was like, I hate the Beatles. Ugh. He's like, do what?
Yeah.
He's like, you don't even appreciate what they did? I said, nope. And he looked at me
like, what?
He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, I have told people my entire life I don't like the Beatles, but I appreciate what they did. And guess what I've been doing? Lying the entire time. I said, I hate the Beatles. I don't like it.
Overrated.
It's the most overrated thing ever.
Right.
And he thought that I was just absolutely insane. He's like, dude, you're not educated. He actually straight up told me that. He's like, you're not educated. I'm like, no, that's not correct. But just that one little thing. Yeah. Me personally, I think that you're told that you're supposed to like the Beatles because of their cultural impact. Mm-hmm. I don't.
Yeah, you listen to the music standalone, it's like
it's not that good.
Who is this British guy talking?
And look, this will be the thing that pisses everybody off about this whole episode.
We're going to get canceled over the Beatles.
Nobody's going to care about anything else we've said. They're going to go, wait, they don't like the Beatles? What?
Click.
Done.
Scroll on.
This is trash.
Golly. It's like that and like AC/DC. I felt the same way. It's like,
you don't like AC/DC?
I hate AC/DC.
I like it. My son's going to be mad. He loves AC/DC.
No, I'm not an AC/DC guy.
No. Yeah. I mean, just the constant every day on the radio. It's like the same two songs. It's like, it's bound to make
Yeah, that voice was rough. I don't know how he made it with that voice.
Mass psychosis. That's I don't know. But my whole point with that...
Squirrel.
Yeah, coming back. Whole point with that is I have noticed that I will push back on things and be a little more honest about what I actually believe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Even if it's something small like the Beatles. I was like, no, I'm actually not going to sit here and tell you that I appreciate what they did. I want you to argue why they did it. Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah.
And it was yeah. Tell me.
But that's healthy though.
It is.
Like,
I mean,
you're still gonna be friends. Like,
yeah, it's not. He's not gonna be mad at me. He might be mad that I'm talking about him right now. I don't know. But
to the world,
the whole point was to push a little.
Yeah,
he's a younger kid, so I wanted to. All right, you believe this way. Tell me why you believe it. Mm-hmm. And he come with, you're not educated. Yeah. So I just let him do it.
Yeah. Just let him do it.
I just let him say it.
So I got a question for you, Joey. Mm-hmm. Back in your day.
Yeah. Old joke again.
Back in the 40s.
Let's just say high school.
Yeah.
What were people's attention spans like? I mean, how was the thought process of people? Because it's definitely changed in the last 20 years.
Yeah. So I grew up without a cell phone. Cell phones didn't become popular until I was in college. I think I got my first one.
And those weren't iPhones either. They were phones or
bricks with snakes on it, and texting was pushing the letter. I mean, the number 3-4 times to get a
bricks
certain number.
with snakes on it.
Yeah,
you're talking about the game snakes. Yeah. Okay, I want to make sure everybody else
knows.
Like
a little brick,
like
and
my child.
Game of snakes.
If you told that to my child when he's 5, he's not a brick with snakes on it.
Yeah. What? I guess that makes sense. Yeah, well, I don't know what that means, but I guess the youngins.
Yeah, just
the youngins don't even know what a handset looks like. The little foam signal. They don't know where that came from.
I love watching those videos where they're an older generation. Will ask somebody that's 18 all these questions about something like, what's a phone book? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
What is a phone book?
They give them a rotary phone and say dial some
and
number.
it blows their mind. Yeah,
That's crazy.
They try to push in little holes, but yeah, I do remember distinctly that there was a level of boredom. You know,
which is good, I think.
Which is good.
That's healthy.
That's where the creativity comes from. Is
That's where you
boredom.
find yourself in the boredom. You're alone with your thoughts. You know?
So, but the difference between my teenage and even before years and watching my kids grow up into that is way different. They're never bored ever.
No.
Yeah.
Ever.
Because if you're bored, you just open your phone, or if you're bored, you just play a video game, or if you're, I mean, that didn't exist when I was.
Like there's no disconnection from the system. You're always plugged in.
And there's a level of loneliness now that wasn't there then.
Yeah.
So
that's part of totalitarianism, though.
It is. Get you isolated.
Isolate you.
Yeah, you get trained easier if you're isolated.
Yep.
Which I think that's why COVID was a test.
Yep.
It was, hey,
to see how people reacted to being alone.
You got to stay in your house. You can't go to school because you're going to kill grandma. So people did. Whoop, and then they're alone for months. It was actually went on for a year.
About a year.
So
I mean, we were in a better situation where we live than what a lot of the country was.
Oh yeah, a lot of countries just
and we still had points where it was, I mean, just really bad. Yeah. But it wasn't near like what it was in other areas.
Yeah, but so you kind of see now this. It's not an epidemic. It's more of just a situation where kids don't want to get their driver's license. Like to me, that thought blows my mind.
It's like wanting to be able to be free in that aspect.
When I was a kid, when I was growing up, because of the boredom. You're like, man, I'm so bored.
Can't wait to get my driver's license and get out of this town.
You get your driver's license, you're partying on the streets every night, which is what you did.
But I think it also was a level of freedom that you were attaining at that point.
Yeah.
And that's what's terrifying to me is that they don't even want the freedom to go do something else.
Yeah.
Away from the seeing eye of your parents.
Yeah.
When you don't even want to disconnect from that, what?
Because it's easier.
I personally can't even think about not doing that. Like that, I wanted it the minute I turned 16.
Everybody
I woke
did.
up early. I was like, no, let's get to the DMV.
Yeah.
And I was 16. I probably stayed up till 4 o'clock playing Call of Duty.
Like, back then, the weird kid was the one that didn't go get his driver's license the day he turned 16.
Yeah.
I actually got grounded on my 16th birthday.
Oof.
And for 3 weeks, I know it was 3 months. I didn't get my license for like 3 months.
Golly.
Worst punishment I've ever had.
Yeah.
Because you just couldn't do anything about it. It's like, no.
So my story of the mass psychosis was the day I turned 16. I was getting ready to go on a date, and my mom pulls up in the driveway and says, I got you a job at the Piggly Wiggly bagging groceries, but you have to go tonight because you got to fill in for somebody. So my first night of freedom drove straight to the 9-to-5 job.
Golly. So, just plugged you right in.
Plug me right into the system, fall in line, go make your money.
Yeah, I think my parents were tired of driving me to whatever job I had. They were like, all right, let's just go get this. Go get the friggin' license here.
Yeah. I didn't. I had early jobs, but it was with my grandpa, so he just swung by and picked me up.
I was a homeschool kid.
Yeah.
So, I started working at 15.
Okay, so let's,
I had 2 jobs
let's
at that
break
point.
on that. Part of stuff I was researching, there's a book called the Dumbing Us Down is what it was called. And it's, from what I gathered, it's the Holy Grail, the Bible for the homeschool movement. And I've got mixed thoughts on the homeschool situation.
As you should.
You do unplug from the system, which a lot of people are wanting to do, for the reasons we've already talked about for the past 40 minutes. But it also brings on a level of social awkwardness.
It does.
So Stephen, tell your story. You've lived on both sides.
I did. So I went to school through 7th grade, public school, but had some bad teachers who actually told my parents that I was never going to amount to anything. And I was in a class full of people that would never amount to anything. So my parents said, well, that's it, and pulled me out.
Okay.
So I hated it to start out.
Public school or homeschool?
I hated homeschool.
Okay.
At first, because I really like that social interaction and hanging out with friends, and feeling like I was a part of a group, I guess. But we had co-ops, which was you would get together with other homeschool families and go do PE or whatever. But that's when I really didn't want to be a part of it, is because these kids had been homeschooled their whole lives.
Yeah.
From growing up on. We were in 8th to, high school on kind of age range. And we did it at a place where they teach gymnastics and all that kind of stuff. We would have our PE class. And these kids were 16 at least. And there are cheerleaders doing backflips on, trampolines and all this kind of stuff. And I'm a 16-year-old boy, so I'm all about it.
Hey, girl.
I'm like, yeah, when we going to co-op? Let's get in that. But these kids started bringing lightsabers and using the force on each other while they were like hot cheerleaders doing backflips. And I'm associated with the group that's,
Playing with lightsabers,
wearing a tunic and using lightsabers. So there is a level of weird that comes with this to an extent. These guys are probably incredibly smart IQ-wise. Socially, not at all. Social, not even a little bit. I would say that today it's probably a little bit better because you've got more. That was once a week that we were all getting together. This is more, you're getting together with these people a little more often. You're interacting with these people a little more often. So it's not just you and your mom sitting in your kitchen doing math problems like it used to be. Looking back, it was actually probably a really good thing for me. It's not for everybody, but I feel like you have to combat what they're teaching your kid in public school all the time.
Which is probably really confusing for the kids too.
It is. It's like, don't believe that. Yeah, that's bullcrap. Don't do this.
It's like you're placing distrust in them to not trust their teacher. You know what I mean? Which is like, it's kind of like when you're a kid and you're in a classroom, it's like, there's one teacher. It's like, you want to trust your teacher. Like they're the adult in the room. You know what I mean? So it's confusing, I think, for kids.
So I kind of lived that life. So both of my kids are grown-ish. They're in high school. One's a senior, one's a freshman. And we had that conversation early, me and my wife. Do we pull the kids out? Do we homeschool them? Because of the programming that was going on and the wokeness that was being taught and the conformity that was being taught. We decided against it because the small community I live in, I knew most of the teachers.
Gotcha.
Sure.
So
if there was an issue, you know what to do.
Like the vice principal was my best friend that I grew up with, so I trusted them. As they got older, situations changed, personnel changed. So there is that level of conformity, and you got to do this thing, and teaching things that I would rather them not be taught in school. But we did have open conversations regularly to make sure they understood the situation,
and how to handle it,
almost to a fault. Like my son I had to pull the reins back on him a few times. He'd be like, "Oh, I've got this teacher, and he's known to teach this, and I'm going to say this." And I'm like, dude, don't get thrown out of school.
It's like you're going to be out of school.
This guy's just for one semester.
It's just a moment in history. Just let it go.
But
move on.
We had, not bragging, but we did a good enough job to let him be able to pick that out on his own.
See, and that's really important.
Yeah. So
if everybody had that, I think it would change in a generation.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
100%.
Because I think the masses, the people that are in line are just like okay with it. It's the easier option. Go get your free schooling.
You're letting the government raise your kid,
right,
to an extent. Yep. But if you're not combating what they're doing,
you've got to work after hours.
Yeah, I was about to say, and everybody's so busy all the time. It's just, how was school? Oh, it was good, and then you move on. There's never no conversation. There's never, hey, Dad, what this guy said this. Where do we stand here?
Yeah, so there's no real good, great answer.
Yeah.
There's not.
You know what I mean? Like
we're already, me and my wife, I mean, my kid was just born. He's 3 months old. Yeah. We're already having the conversation of what are we going to do when it comes to school age?
Yeah.
And I think we're probably leaning more towards a homeschooled situation.
Yeah.
But we have a core
You've got to counter it the other way, though.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean. Like I countered pushing back against the agenda.
Still work on the other side too. Of like, hey, no, you're not taking your lightsaber out.
Take the tunic off.
You know, take the tunic off. We're not wearing a robe, and you're not a Jedi. You're
not
stop.
You're not going to be a furry.
Yeah, I mean, so there's work either side, and you got to make your kid social. I mean. Once they get out into the world, they still have to operate in the world. But yeah, so it's work on either way. Yeah, absolutely.
So what's your stance on homeschool versus public?
I think public school, I didn't go to a great school and I wasn't the smartest kid. So I was just kind of there passing time for myself. But socially, I mean, I can see the social aspect being the best part of school, not so much what you learn there, but just getting those connections and whatnot. But homeschool, if you really want a child that is a critical thinker, I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, I homeschool because my son is autistic and we don't trust the school system to protect him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And teach him in the way he needs to be taught.
Correct. Because everybody with autism is different in how they learn. Yeah. And if you don't take the time and teach them the way they can learn, they can't handle it. Yeah. They won't understand.
It's not a one size fits all situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what public school is.
It's for the masses.
One size fits all. And if you don't fit that size, you get pushed out.
Yeah.
And you can see that in school. You could be in a class and there's always at least one or two people who are always pushed out, referrals, suspended, just because they can't learn in that setting. Yeah. And that's just how it is.
Guys, you just look at how guys learn as opposed to girls. Guys are not really meant to sit in a room and learn. That's not really how we're meant to operate.
Hands-on.
We're more of a hands-on.
Make the mistakes.
But that's why you got all these kids on Ritalin and ADHD medicine and all this kind of stuff, because you're going to sit down and you're going to do this now. Yeah. And when the boy's like, no,
get out, go home.
Yeah, I mean, it's not made for everybody. So,
and even in defense of the system, it kind of has to be that way.
Sure.
You put 30 kids in a room.
There's got to be some level of order in that.
Yeah, you can't have one causing chaos and just blowing things up. So, I don't know. But, can I do the mic drop? Are we about done?
Yeah.
I got a mic drop quote.
Give us a mic drop.
Gustav Le Bon. I'm fixing to sound really smart.
Like a fine dish.
Yeah.
It does. It sounds like that's served in a fancy restaurant.
Gustav Le Bon. He's a
medium rare.
What was he? A psychologist back in the 1800s.
I don't know why you're looking at me.
Yeah.
I don't.
Sounds Russian.
Yeah, he was a smart think tank kind of guy back in the early days. I think he was French, but one of his quotes: "The masses have never thirsted after truth."
Yeah.
The masses aren't going to go after truth.
They're not.
They turn aside from evidence that is not to their taste, preferring to deify error, which means it's okay that they would rather be wrong than
as long as the group is wrong.
Yep.
If the group is wrong,
if the error seduces them.
Yeah.
Whoever can supply them with illusions is easily their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always their victim. So they're going to go after guys like us that are saying, hey, open your mind. Think about it.
Yeah, so basically what that says is be prepared.
Yeah.
You're going to have pushback. And you're going to be called an idiot. And you're going to be called a conspiracy theorist.
You're going to come to a crossroads one day.
Yep.
We're going to have to choose either to conform to the group or be your own person. And then that's just how it is.
Yep.
It is.
Sweet. Fun talk, guys. That was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know where this was going to go, but
I was worried about this one because I was trying to figure out stats and, learn a little something, but
it's think tank.
I like
bringing
where we went.
Our own anecdotal information and our own stories. And
that's right. Well, check us out on everything, all the plugs. ShroudedRealities.com is the best place to go. Fixing to have merch. I've been working on that this week. Got some t-shirts ordered, so check.
Got some stickers.
Y'all look at. Oh yeah, I got some stickers for the back of your.
That's gonna be sweet. Go throw it on your laptop. Go tell your buddies about it. Give them a sticker.
Put it on your forehead.
Yep.
That's right.
That'll trigger some conversation.
Yeah.
Shrouded Realities. So So for Steven, Connor, Joey, and Ruby, the podcast dog. Appreciate y'all for listening, hanging in there. Catch you on the next one.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.